Hello and welcome to another 30-minute yoga class. My name is Beth and I'm so happy you're here today. This practice is one of my favorites. It's all about feeling grounded and opening our heart, which I think for this time of year they're really good tools to have. Feeling grounded during a time when we have so much going on, and opening up our hearts so that we're able to pause and see all the blessings around us. So I've done this practice before. It's one of my favorites. So let's get started. We're going to start seated on the mat. So just come into a simple pose. And you can close your eyes or gaze down at the floor. But take a moment to go inward and know what you're bringing to you. Go deep inside your body. Just notice any sensations that are. Maybe there's some tightness. Maybe you're feeling a little unbalanced. No judgment, just notice everything about your body sitting. Bring your attention to your sitting bones and see if they're rooting down evenly into the mat, or maybe you're leaning too. And if you are leaning, just try to straighten that out a little bit so you feel both sitting bones evenly on them. And then also notice the outside edges of your feet. Are your feet relaxed? They're curling up at the toes. Relax into the earth. Notice how each foot might be presenting differently. Taking this time to be curious bodies about the beginning of our practice. Also bring your attention to your tailbone. Work your way up your spine. Notice, and see if you're leaning a little bit forward. So maybe the top of your spine is more over your thighs. Really common, especially if we're over a computer all day or texting. So if that's the case for you, just kind of let your back kind of go back so that your shoulders are over your hips. And just notice how that simple adjustment changes how very, very subtle pose, how it changes. You might feel you're going a little deeper. You can roll your shoulders back and down a couple times. That always feels good. And then try lifting up out of your hips. So the torso is long. Top of the head reaches up towards the ceiling. And then check in with your breath. Notice your normal breath. Not trying to breathe any special. But get in touch with how you typically breathe. Not judging, but noticing how deep into your belly your breath goes. Typically, the breath, when we're going day to day, the breath lands. So notice if that's true. And slowly making a transition into your belly breathing. Feel the rhythm of the breath. Soothe you. And using it as a tool to stay present. You can also check in with your thoughts and any emotions that might be bubbling up. Sometimes when we start a class really slow like this, some people are wondering, when are we going to start moving? hope I picked the right class and all that stuff. Don't worry, we're going to move in just a little bit. But just taking this time to be still and notice, being present, which is one of the most important parts of our yoga practice. So good for So let's start adding some just gentle movement by turning the head. And part of feeling grounded, whether you're on the mat or out in, is staying present. So as you move, even in this simple movement, notice how this feels in your neck. Notice if the right side feels the same as the left side. Then bring the head to center and lift your head back, squeezing those shoulder blades. And then bring your chin to your chest. Nice and slowly, so that you can experience every part of this movement, which is so simple. If you really pay attention, you'll notice how you can feel the effect of this movement, sometimes away from your neck, maybe even in. Just be open and aware. And then bring the head back to. Just those first few moments of stillness and mindfulness. It's really a great way to start your practice. Let's come into tabletop. And just to open up the spine, we'll move through a couple of cats and cows. So spread your fingers nice and wide. Check your alignment. Nice strong back here. Inhale and let your belly fall towards the mat. Put your shoulders back. Lift your. And then exhale. Spine comes up, belly comes in, chin to the chest. And notice again where you're feeling these simple moves. Or maybe today they're not so simple for you. Sometimes the body shows up with just some issues. It's okay, that's why we do yoga. To maybe let them go through our movement, breath. And one more time. Nice and slow, staying present. And come into a neutral tabletop. Tuck your toes. And root down through your hands and the balls of your feet, kind of where your toes are pressing into the mat. And just lift up, engaging the core. Knees are coming up off the mat. And just notice how this feels, feeling the arms start to warm up. Belly might start to tremble. Whatever you're feeling, it's all normal. So just experience it. And then when you're ready, release your heels down to the mat for down dog. Release your head. Let the head hang down. And add some movement to your down dog. You have lots of options here. You can pedal the feet. We'll do that nice and slowly. You can also just bend your knees a little bit. And then come back into a nice long down dog, pressing the heels back, pressing the hands into the mat, dropping the head. Doing that a couple of times. And then one of my favorites is to separate your feet the width of your mat and just let your hips slide from side to side, always remembering to release the head. So lots of options here. Yogi's choice. Find one that works for you. And spend some time here in a down dog, adding movement if it feels good, or maybe today your body needs to be still in this pose. So that's fine too. Part of yoga is always listening to your body and knowing what you need. All right, from here, shift forward into plank pose. Fingers are spread nice and wide, rooting down through the pads of your fingertips. And let's just move forward and back. So not lifting the hips at all, trying to stay in your plank pose and just shifting your weight to the top tips of your toes and back to the balls of your feet. And remember, you can always bring your knees to the mat for a modified plank pose. That feels really good too. Still a strong pose for the core. And then either with straight knees or knees on the mat, yogi's choice there, bend your elbows in and lower your chest to nice and slow. Hands coming into cobra. Shoulders pressing back and down. Shine your heart forward, lift. Your pelvic bone stays on the mat here, but we're lifting the chest up, and head stays in line with the spine so that we have a nice alignment. And notice how this feels. Be in your body. Notice the parts that are talking to you the loudest. Don't let anything hurt. You should feel the strength building. Tuck your toes, lift your hips back into plank pose, and then push your hips back into down dog. Feel that release in the lower back. And again, you can add movement or hold the down dog still, whatever your body needs. Checking in with your breath, trying to keep it slow and steady without, which is part of the challenge. And on your next breath, raise your left leg up. And, I like to play around here a little bit when the left leg is up, coming into down dog split. You can lever the leg up and down. You can draw circles. The joints need movement. So just take the time here to just move that around a little bit before we come into our lunge. And then lift that leg up high. Come up on the ball of the right foot and bring that left foot in. Arms up into cactus pose. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Elbows are up high. Check in with your breath. You might feel your body kind of swaying a little bit in this pose. Totally normal. Some people say, uh-oh, I can't hold the pose. Listen, it's okay. It's just your brain is trying to figure out where your center of gravity is. So roll your shoulders back and down and squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then bring your elbows back behind you. Raise your chest up towards, opening up your heart. Being open to everything that this practice has. Bring your arms up and then fold over. Whoops, there goes my sock. Coming back into plank, sorry. Back into a nice plank pose. Shifting forward and back. And then shift all the way forward. Bend your elbows in towards your ribs. Lower yourself down. Remember, you can drop your knees. Chest comes to the mat. Up into cobra. Pelvic bone stays on the mat. Shoulders back and down. Head in line with your spine. And noticing if this cobra feels different from the first one. Using the breath, help you stay in the pose. Mentally. Tuck your toes, lift back into plank, and then press back into down dog. Again, make this dog work for you. Anything that you need, movement, stillness, twisting. And then on your next breath, raise that right leg up. You can hold here in three-legged dog, or you can move that leg a little bit. Just have some fun with it. Listen to your body. Do what you need. Give your body what it needs. Especially during this time of year where we're doing so much. Let this practice help you. And then take a deep breath in. Lift that leg up high. Come up on the ball of the left foot. And then bring that right foot forward. Drop that left knee. Flatten the foot. When you're ready, arms up, cactus pose again. Fingers are spread nice and wide, really reaching them out in all directions. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. A good visual for that is to imagine you have like a pencil in between your shoulder blades and you're trying to hold that pencil in place with your shoulder blades, which I think is impossible to do, but it's a good visual. So squeeze them together and then pull your elbows back. Let the chest rise up, opening up the heart, lifting your gaze. And just noticing if this side of the pose feels different than the other side. Always being curious about your practice. Inhale, bring the arms up. And exhale, fold. Step that right foot back into down dog. And then inhale into plank. Shifting forward and back. Really pressing those heels back when you're shifting back. Pause, shifting forward a little bit. Bend your elbows, lowering down, lower those knees if you need to. It's all press up into. Enjoy that nice expansion through your chest. You feel a little bit in your belly and keep those elbows pulling in. And on your next breath, tuck your toes, come back into plank. Down dog here. Connect with your breath. Release your head. And then walk your feet forward. Or you can hop forward or come forward any way that's good for you. Release into a forward bend. Let your weight go into your toes. Straight knees if you can, but you can bend them too. Slowly bend your knees and come all the way up. And bring your hands to heart center. So when the hands are at heart center, try to remember to bring your knuckles of your thumbs to your chest so that you can connect with your heart. Sometimes you can feel your heart beating, which is just a great reminder. We're alive, we're breathing, our heart is beating, and then we can find gratitude just for that. It's a big thing. Pausing here, even close your eyes. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, palms together. Release your palms all the way down, back into your forward bend. Weight is in the toes, nice hamstring stretch. Inhale, come halfway up, flat back, shoulders are pressing back, chest is forward, looking off the top of your mat, head stays in line with your spine. And then release back into your forward bend. Bring your left foot back and then drop your heel. We're going to start our warrior sequence now. And then when you're ready, help yourself all the way up into warrior one. You can drop your hips a little bit more to go deeper. And in our warrior sequence, the feet are pressing away from each other into the mat but away. And then the inner thighs, the upper thighs are pulling in towards each other. And check the alignment too. You want your hips that, in this case, this left hip likes to pull back. Try to pull it forward a little bit. Arms all the way up. Noticing everything about this pose. Try not to fall into the instep of that back foot. That's very common. So we want to still be grounding down through the four corners of both feet here. And then let's open up the heart again. Cactus pose. Squeeze that pencil in between your shoulder blades. Lift your heart. Gaze comes up. And then inhale, bring the arms back up. And exhale, open up into warrior two. Maybe even coming deeper into the pose. I'm sorry, my back is to you. Deeper into the pose. Looking over that right arm. Engaging the muscles of the upper thighs. Pressing the feet down into the mat, root down. Grab the mat with your toes. And then straighten that front leg and reach that right arm all the way up, placing the left hand on the side of your leg and reaching the left hand down as the right arm goes up and back. Great stretch through the right side of the body. Be careful of your neck here. Sometimes it gets a little unhappy. So you can even move your head a little bit if that feels good. That might throw off your balance a little bit, so play with that. Maybe going a little deeper into that bend. And then come back into warrior two. Oh, so beautiful. And then rainbow your arms down. Step your feet back, down dog. And you can just pause into down dog, catch your breath, or you can add another vinyasa coming into plank. Shift your weight forward. Bend your elbows in, lower your chest down. Cobra. Tuck the toes back into plank. Exhale, down dog. Walk your feet forward, or hop forward, or just come to the top of your mat. Back into your forward bend. Notice this different, maybe first. Inhale halfway. And exhale forward. Step your right foot. And lift up, warrior one. Same thing on this side. I always like to check my alignment. The heel of the front foot should be lined up with the middle of the back foot. That helps to protect your knees. So you can look down and check that too. Also, twisting at the waist so that the shoulders are over the hips. That gives a nice massage to the internal organs. And then you can drop deeper into the pose. Or you can stay gentle. Shoulders are back and down. Breathe. Notice. And you, if you're like me, you see how easy it is for your mind to wander. Try to stay in your practice. And open up warrior two. Reaching opposite direction. Fingers are spread. Gazing over that left arm, nice and tall. Also, try lifting up out of your hips. Straighten that knee. And lift that left arm up as the right arm falls against that leg. You can stay right here, just up at the ceiling or the sky if that feels good. Or if you want to go deeper, reaching back behind you. And what's interesting about this is the longer you hold this, sometimes you can go a little deeper. So maybe that's available to you. Or maybe you want to stay straight towards the ceiling. Do what you need today. Back to warrior two. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. And then rainbow your arms down. Step that foot back. Down dog. Pedal and move. Great job, everybody. And another vinyasa. So down dog, inhale, come forward into plank. Nice strong plank pose. Tighten those glutes, pull the belly in. And then when you're ready, bend your elbows and lower your chest down to the to cobra. One last cobra pose. Roll those shoulders down and back. Nice back bend. Head stays in line with the spine. You can straighten your elbows all the way if you want, or keep them bent, whatever feels right for you. Inhale. And exhale, release. I'm going to move back a little bit. Up into tabletop, toes stay together, knees come apart, and then release your hips over your heels. Walk your chest. Check in. Something more on and you come back up into tabletop. Let the hips kind of shift from side to side. Kind of swoop them down like an arc or a half circle. And then pausing in the middle. Cross your ankles, shift your weight over. Pull your feet out from underneath. Legs come out in front of you. Ankles are flexed. Toes are pointed straight up. And lift. Spine is straight. Maybe 90 degrees to the earth. Hands can be resting. Noticing. Pressing the backs of your knees into the mat to energize the legs a little. So if you're really sitting up straight and tall, pulling your belly in, squeezing your shoulders back and down, you start to feel this after a while. It looks like it's a simple nothing pose, but if you're really energizing, sewing your ribs together in front of you, you really start to feel it. It's hard to maintain that for an extended amount of time, but notice as you do all those things how this pose changes. And inhale your arms all the way up, lifting up out of your hips. And then exhale, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Press your spine back so you can curve through. Maintain control. Releasing everything down to the mat. Bring your arms up overhead. Point your toes. Stretch your body in opposite directions. Start wiggling things. And then release your arms all the way down. Palms up. Feet are relaxed. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth. Exhale. Just letting your whole body sink into the earth. Finish your exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Go into a breath that's comfortable and relaxing for you. We'll just stay here for a few moments as we let all the benefits of practice sink in. Letting the inhale nourish your body and allow the exhale. One or two more breaths. And slowly start moving the body, fingers, toes, hips. Roll your head, whatever needs movement first. And then roll over onto your side. These 30-minute classes so fast. Come up into a seated posture, nice and tall. So this is how we started. Everything comes full circle in life. Here we are, ending our practice. I'll close your eyes. Breath. We're not moving, but you can feel the torso expand as you inhale. Give yourself the gift of this last practice. Start. The light in me salutes the light in you. Oh, I love that practice. I'm so glad you were here with me. Thanks for joining me today. Make sure you check out all the videos on Driven's YouTube channel. They're awesome. They're just keeping me going during these days. So I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and join me next week for another yoga session. Bye, everybody.